Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Despite the fact that Black Ops 6 is the most developed Call of Duty title to date with a 4-year dev cycle, as opposed to most standard COD titles only having 3 years, it seems they've already run into a major issue, and it's a problem that is likely going to be around until it is completely avoided going forward, if you will. This is something that's going to impact Warzone multiplayer and zombies alike, and will probably continue to impact Call of Duty titles for some time until they finally take the next step and switch away from the current system at hand. Now, this information was actually highlighted in an interview that Black Ops 6 developers did with Windows Central. I'll have a link to the full interview down in the description below. There is a lot more to the interview itself than just what we're focused on here today, but honestly, I'm kind of surprised this hasn't been mentioned more, because this interview's been out for some time, but kind of just went under the radar. And I was, looking up a couple of things the other day, happened to stumble across this and read this specific section that was kind of a red flag. So with this, they are talking about Black Ops 6 and the fresh start that it's bringing to COD into the current year. But here's how Yale Miller from Treyarch describes the game and how various Treyarch devs talked about it. Black Ops 6 ties into the Call of Duty HQ engine shared with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, as well as Warzone. So yes, for anyone still wondering, we've known that this was confirmed for some time, but Black Ops 6 is built on the same engine that we've been playing MW2 and MW3 and Warzone on for the past couple of years. They've also already stated that all games moving forward in Call of Duty, until they say otherwise, until there is a significant engine update or upgrade, are going to be built off this same engine. So COD 2025, COD 2026, continuing all the way, like I said, until they make another engine upgrade, and then it just resets. Every game beyond that will be built off the same engine, so on and so forth. They continue by saying the HQ is available on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4, along with the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 console hardware. The launch of Warzone 2 and the Call of Duty HQ were originally marketed as the start of the franchise's life on new hardware, scarcity at the start of the console generation, and a larger player base that remains on previous consoles ultimately led to the decision to keep Call of Duty on last gen. So this has been a big topic for some time. Why is Call of Duty still on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? These consoles are a decade old. They have very limited tech. They absolutely cannot keep up with the modern day tech that's being implemented into PS5s, Xbox Series X's and S's, and all the various pro alternatives of those consoles. And we honestly may be approaching another generation of consoles coming up here pretty quickly as well. So it's been a hot topic for some time now, especially the last couple of years with Call of Duty. When are they going to stop making games on last gen? And the reason that they haven't is that so many people, a huge chunk of the player base, are still exclusively playing Call of Duty on last gen hardware. When asked about the challenges of continuing development of the blockbuster shooter on last gen hardware, Yale Miller simply stated, "It's a horsepower problem." So even the devs now at this point are coming out and saying, yeah, this is going to be a big issue, and it is an issue as we're developing new COD titles every single year. Yale continues by saying, "There is no way on a last-gen machine that we can do all the things, especially from a graphical fidelity level. You start getting to a point where you're looking at visual fidelity and other things. You're wondering if you want to keep pushing to use CPU or GPU to push on graphics, and then you might have to sacrifice gameplay. And for us," Miller elaborated, "gameplay is king." So we now have it as a direct confirmation from the devs themselves. Everything about Call of Duty right now is being limited by the game still being available on last gen hardware. So Black Ops 6 is going to be what it is. Modern Warfare 3 was what it was, as was Warzone 2. There could have been more potential changes, more upgrades, more significant differences in these era of Call of Duty games versus the last era of, let's say, MW 2019 Cold War Vanguard, except they had to cap out at a certain point because the changes they were trying to make, the upgrades in graphics and the overall fidelity and different gameplay designs, were limited severely on current gen on PC by the last gen ceiling that those consoles have for their technological capabilities, basically. Miller says that the team looks at the best way to maximize visuals to be the best they can on last gen graphics without fully sacrificing gameplay, but some features ultimately just didn't make the cut. The most notable cut from Black Ops 6 is the anticipated theater mode, which actually had to be removed from the last gen hardware due to the resource required to record and rerun matches. Theater mode will be present on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5 versions of Black Ops 6, however. Despite having a 4-year development time, things were still left on the cutting room floor. I'm sure there's 1,000 things in a documents folder on my desktop, but I'm happy with where we're at today. Matt Scront said he's another senior designer on the game. Both Miller and Scront are clearly proud of the new features. You know, you have the body shield, you have sleeper agent, all these other things, but it is pretty crazy to me that we now actually have devs on record in an interview saying, hey, yeah, this game could have been so much more, but we had to cap out to make sure the game could still be played on last gen. And like I said, this is a hot topic and has been so for some years now. And I think especially going forward, now that this information is out there, this is going to be a reoccurring problem for every single new COD that drops. Every single major update we see to the COD HQ, last gen is going to be an availability option, but it's going to come at the cost of limiting the game's potential. I know a big complaint a lot of people have that I see in the comments all the time is, every time a new COD gets released, Zach, what's going on with the graphics? This game doesn't look as good as MW 2019. This game doesn't look as good as some of these older CODs. And there's validity to those arguments, you know, and likely part of the reason is that they're trying to do so much new with gameplay, all these new features, new movements, all this other new tech that's being implemented into the game design means that they can only do so much graphically to have the game actually run in a stable place on PlayStation 4, on Xbox One. And to a point, I also understand why a lot of players aren't jumping ship from those consoles. You know, PC gaming's kind of exploded as of late. I believe the last time Microsoft and Activision did an earnings report, they said actually about 50% of the player base is on PC. Like a huge chunk of COD has shifted over to PC recently. But if you want a stable PC that's going to run the game at a constant frame rate and actually be playable and competitive, that's a couple $1,000s. Like that's a significant investment for a lot of people as opposed to a $300, $400, $500 console. And then the new generation of consoles, still PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. You look at things like the PS5 Pro, $500 still, $600, $700. What the like PlayStation remaster, like nostalgia one, the whole like skin for it just went up for like $1,000 the other day. Like these are significant investments, and at that point I know a lot of people are probably sitting there saying, well, if I'm going to spend $700 on a new PlayStation, what if I were to just save for a little bit more, continue to save, and then maybe just get a PC further on down the road? I can survive on my PlayStation 4 for now, right? Like unless you're someone who seriously cares about graphics and the new gen exclusives and some of the features offered with that stuff, you probably don't have the biggest reason to upgrade to, you know, a current console if you're not playing it every single day or if your old one isn't on its last breath, you know? So yes, gameplay is going to be extremely limited on PlayStation 4 consoles, on Xbox One consoles for Black Ops 6. The experience there is going to be severely dwindled. It will not be one-to-one or anything close to one-to-one as opposed to current gen and then PC, of course. But while last gen is still playable, although in a very different state, its availability is still going to cap out what is the potential, I guess, really, of advancements on current gen and on PC for COD. As to when this situation is going to be avoided and this won't be a talking point, it really comes down to when Call of Duty is ready to jump ship from making games on last gen. And at the end of the day, that's simply a business decision. Are they making an extra couple of tens of millions of dollars from last gen players? You know, are 30% of players still on a PS4 or an Xbox One? They're probably not going to jump ship. That's a huge chunk of revenue and a huge chunk of profit that Call of Duty and Microsoft see. Is it 5% of players? Okay, maybe they could live with that. And then perhaps those 5% are more inclined to buy a new gen console or to buy a PC to continue playing Call of Duty. Until that is, you know, a stable thing for them and they realize, hey, we can cut off last gen and not lose a huge chunk of money, we're probably going to continue to see this, you know, availability across last gen and current gen, despite the fact that there are now so many hard caps being put into place by allowing last gen to continue to have a Call of Duty experience. Like I said earlier, this has been a hot topic for some time, and I'm really curious your thoughts on this after hearing devs actually speak out about the limitations that are being put in place. So if Feel free to drop me a comment down below with your thoughts on this situation. Do you think it's good that there's still availability for last gen? Do you think it's bad because of the limitations? While you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, you want to help share it around, a like rating would be really appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, every single day I got you covered with all things going on in Call of Duty. So if you want to guarantee you're always up to date, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.